All right, guys, welcome in. Belt Off Podcast is a little different today. My co-hosts Dylan and Michael are sick, so here I am solo. So I'm counting on you guys to bring me some questions and topics to bring up, and we will cover those. But let's start with newer people. So if you are looking to start jiu-jitsu, if you're looking to start kickboxing, just go. I know it can be extremely intimidating walking in those doors. That's why we're offering a 30-day trial for our jiu-jitsu and a class for our kickboxing, because we understand that it can be a struggle to get in, and we want to try to ease that as much as possible and make sure that it's something that you're truly going to enjoy and continue. So we offer that 30 days on the jiu-jitsu and a single class on kickboxing to try to entice you guys in a little bit more, because once you get started, it's pretty addicting and you can't stop. But walking through those doors the first time is challenging. All right, you guys are finally coming in, so let's get some questions in the chat today. I am alone. My co-hosts are gone today. I'm going to adjust this camera up in just a second, but let's see those comments. Let me know the sound is good. Let me know everything is good on your end. I'm going to fix that camera up just a little bit. All right. Now you guys can see my bald, shiny head a little bit better. All right. And yes, we are starting a little early today. But, all right. Why start martial arts? Good question. So a lot of people start martial arts for various reasons. One's to get in shape, right? That's usually the most obvious one, right? You will drop pounds, you will get in shape. Weight loss happens in the kitchen also, though, so you have to make sure that your diet is on point. But martial arts will definitely help you get onto that right track in losing weight or getting fit, right? The other reason that people start martial arts is for self-defense. So self-defense is paramount if you want to keep yourself safe in everyday altercations. It shouldn't be every day, right? But if that situation arises, the way that I like to say this is no is only as powerful as your ability to back it up. So if you are unable to back up saying no, then no only works on people who are going to respect the no, and that's not the people you need to be able to back it up with, right? So having the ability to put a exclamation mark on this and say, no, you're not going to do that to me, and then be able to follow through and set that boundary is critical. And what I've found with that is if you're confident that you can back it up, people respect the first part so much that it doesn't even get to the second part of needing to back it up. The confidence that you've gained by training and by challenging yourself in the gym gives you that confidence to put that exclamation in your voice so that it doesn't come to a hand-to-hand altercation. So yeah, we have weight loss, we have fitness, we have self-defense. And then also, it's just a ton of fun, right? There's sport aspects up to it. You can compete if you like, but just the everyday challenge of getting better. One of the other newer guys that we have in class last night came up to me and was saying, I didn't expect to be thinking about this all the time. And the reason that that's happening is if you get submitted or something happens to you in sparring, now you're like, oh man, what did I do wrong, or what could I do to change this? And it just goes on and on in your brain. When you first think about martial arts, all you think is like, oh, the body aspects of it, but it really gets your brain going also. It gets you thinking in different ways, really problem solving. Yeah, so great question. Why start martial arts? Those are three big ones. One, to get in shape. Two, for self-defense. And three, it's just a ton of fun, and you can compete if you like, or just show up to class and learn some stuff, have some fun. Number four would probably be community. the people who show up to martial arts classes are across the board. You're going to run into everyone. Doesn't matter their background. They might be the richest person or the poorest person, and then all walks of life, all different cultures. Martial arts kind of brings everyone together, and that's a fantastic thing. If you're just coming in, I am solo today, so make sure you're asking questions. Let's talk a bit about things. Nobody to check me, so let's get in trouble. All right, we got 2 of you sitting out there. All right, let me see a question, guys. We're going to be here for a little while. My co-hosts are sick today, so I am riding solo. So I'm going to be leaning on the chat a little bit more. Let's see those questions. 3 now. All right, we're increasing one by one. Thanks, Rex Thompson. You got a question for me? You got a statement? Let's see something. I've been blowing up Facebook again this week. Lots of fun things being posted. But yeah, let's talk about MMA. Let's talk about martial arts, jiu-jitsu, life. Anything goes on here. It is a live podcast. One of the things that I saw was Tony Ferguson signed to an 8-fight contract, even after, oh man, I hope he retires. He still thinks he has a title shot run left in him, and I just don't see it happening. Man, I think the Athletic State Commission is going to retire him before he even gets anywhere near that 8 fights. I do this in my first time coming onto your podcast. I follow your page. I'm an instructor in martial arts at a Tom DeBlas affiliate school. I train Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai. All right, all the things. I love it. I also train Muay Thai, Kickboxing, and Jiu-Jitsu. It's such a great thing to be well-rounded, right? Being able to throw strikes and then seam them together. It's also a lot of fun to be able to throw fun kicks and clinch and all the fun things that Muay Thai brings. My first day of training. Oh, also in Donnybrook fight promotion. That's fantastic. You're all over the board. My first day of training jiu-jitsu. So let's go back a little bit. So I lived in Hawaii for a little bit. I moved to Hawaii when I turned 20 years old. I was out there for about 5 years. And during that time was like BJ Penn's peak. He was all over on every pay-per-view. UFC pretty much only had pay-per-views back then. And the island would shut down because I was on the same island that he lives on. And man, it was a huge thing. It was like the Super Bowl every time he fought. And it really piqued my interest. I wanted to understand a little bit more of that was happening on the ground. You can kind of understand, we punched the person, we kicked the person, but when it gets to the ground and all the different things that he was doing, fascinated me. That mindset, I really wanted to understand. So, but I was working crazy hours, and I know a lot of people out there do and still train anyway, so good on you guys. But when I moved back to California, I changed, same profession, but I actually had decent hours, so I was getting off on the time where I could start training. So my first day, I go in, and it was a fantastic experience. It was a no-gi gym. I got paired with a brown belt. He showed me all the different things, showed me what an arm bar, taught me a couple positions. I was like, oh man, this is great. Went back the next day, and it was a sparring day. I got tossed into the pit, and I just got smashed and torn up. I'm 135 pounds. I was like, I am not going to be able to sustain this because there are 200 pounders that are just smashing me on my second day. And it's one thing if you're being smashed in a technical way, and there's another thing to just be grinding the new person that doesn't know anything, and that's what was happening to me. But I was sold on jiu-jitsu, so I found a place that was a little more beginner-friendly, we'll say it that way. And then I spent a bunch of time with there, and I was there for a little over a year, but it was a little too beginner-friendly to the point where I knew my potential wasn't going to be unlocked. And then, progression, and here we are today. But yeah, so sometimes it's the right sport at the wrong place or the wrong time. So try different gyms, right? Because if I would have just gone into that second day and been like, oh man, I can't do this, and quit, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys, right? So it might not be the sport, it might be the place, or vice versa. Find something that you click with, find an instructor that you enjoy learning under, and it's really going to set that long-term goal for you. But yeah, get after it, keep training. It just gets better, right? White belt's a lot of smash, but white belt's also fascinating because everything's new. Everything's mind-blowing, and that's a great place to be. James Maddox says, my first day I got paired with a purple while the others did the usual drilling technique, then sparred 6 rounds. Yeah, so fantastic. Like, what I would say is don't be afraid of the higher ranks. I guess it would come down to gym culture more so than anything. And don't get me wrong, the majority of gyms out there are amazing. Okay, they're going to take that person, the people in that are going to coach that person up. They're going to give you challenges, right? But there's another thing of like just thrashing the new person. And I think this happens a little bit more at boxing gyms than it does at MMA gyms, where a person will come in or jiu-jitsu gyms, where you go into the boxing gym and they're like, oh, fresh meat for our fighters, right? And then they throw you in with, I've had so many stories of people coming in that have gone to a boxing gym and they got thrown into the ring with their professional fighter. I don't know if they're trying to like show how effective boxing is or they're just like fresh meat for their fighters, but I hear that all the time and it's really sad. But anyway, going with the higher ranked people is fantastic because they can show you tips, they can give you the positions and the tricks and all the things you need to know for when you first start off. So going 6 rounds with sparring with a high level person, that can be some amazing training that's not grindy. Yeah, 5 years ago, first day. That was 5 years ago. Fantastic. Blue belt now. Sounds like you're on the path, right? Yeah, I spent almost 3. I missed a promotion day where I had to move, and it was like I had to be out that day. And I was set to get my blue belt that day. And it was like after that promotion day, everyone was like, oh, they had your blue belt ready and everything. But it was 6 months later. So I was almost 3 years into my white belt when I got my blue belt. And then I think I was at blue for another 3.5 years. So I spent some time in those belts. Yeah. March will be my 10 years, and I'm currently a brown belt. Yeah. Yeah, we got 4 people in here. Awesome. Again, we are running... laughs, angries, happies, all that. I am solo today. My co-hosts are not here today, so I'm leaning on the chat heavily today. So make sure you are active in that. Apparently everyone's getting sick this time of year. So I'm sitting here happy, healthy, talking to you guys. Let's talk jiu-jitsu. Let's talk martial arts. Let's talk MMA, life, whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's get it going. I think there was a comment up there. Let's take a look. First day training, 3 now, yeah. All good. I am caught up on the chat, so give me something to talk about. I hope you guys are enjoying my Facebook page. I am always active on that. Yeah, I am always active on Facebook. I'm trying to get to that 5,000 follower mark to unlock all the features. It gives extra features for the live chats and all those things. So we're at like 4,450 or something. So if you haven't followed, make sure that you guys follow the page. Do you recommend any supplements for recovery? Electrolytes are always good. Some people really like creatine. Protein's always good. But I don't do a whole lot of things. As far as recovery, when I turned 26, I really started feeling more of the train. That's kind of like when I started training, but that's when my body started feeling a little more aches and pains and everything. And then the 30s is different. I'm 36 now. You really got to start pacing your hard days with your technique days and set them up so you find a schedule that works for you. That's the best thing that I would say, is have your hard sparring days and then have your technique days. Just because you're sore doesn't mean you shouldn't go light, right? Do some light training, get your practice and get your reps and keep flowing on that. And then as far as recovery, I would say prehab is one of the best things that you can do. Add some weights, add some kettlebell swings, add some lifts, and it doesn't even have to be heavy. Go throw around a 20-pound kettlebell. Your grip strength will get better. Your chokes will get better. You'll have a little more squeeze on everything. And then core. Your core is huge. So everything from your knees up to your chest, work on that. Make sure that your hip flexibility and dexterity is huge. I play a lot of guard. I suffered from a lot of lower back pain until I started adding a lot of kettlebell swings and movements with the kettlebell to actually increase the strength in that area. And then now the back pain is almost completely gone. Yeah. So prehab. Swing some kettlebells. Maces are also a whole lot of fun. When I first got the mace bell, it's like, here, I'll grab one for you. Hold on one second. These things right here are amazing. So this is a 10-pounder. The 7-pounders are much lighter, but the handle is much shorter. What these do is they are a beast on your strength training, and you can offset that weight like this, and that really starts pulling your body and starts engaging your core. So let's see if I can go here. So even when it comes to something just like curls, I'm pressing down with the right hand and I'm pulling with the left hand, and it really stabilizes your core. The 360 swings over your shoulders. At first you see it and you're like, oh man, that's just gonna work my shoulders. It's working your core. You feel it all the way down to your feet, because as that weight shifts over your head, it's pulling your entire body that way, and you have to stabilize to stay perfectly centered. It goes huge with jiu-jitsu training. Yeah, love kettlebells, love the mace. It's also a lot of fun to swing a medieval type of utility like those maces. Yeah, you can hear I'm almost already out of breath. But yeah, not too many supplements. Creatine can be good. Electrolytes are always good. Protein. Yeah, kettlebell workouts. Lower back pain. Yeah, lower back pain is so common in jiu-jitsu, especially if you play a lot of guard, a lot of reverse curling and everything, pulling the person towards you, a lot of being stacked. You hear so many guys with disc issues, whether it be their neck or their lower back. And I think a lot of it comes from just no structure, right? Think of your back. You have, layers of discs, and you have your muscles and the structure that holds all that in place. If you don't have that structure, what's happening is just, bone on bone grinding. So if you can actually structure the scaffolding or muscles around the scaffolding, which is your spine, you're going to be way better off. But yeah, swing those things, and then you're going to have unbreakable grips swinging around that thing, right? You're squeezing the whole time. It's a fantastic workout. I have a couple videos on YouTube. Belts Off. I actually changed the name to Nick Johnson. So Nick Johnson Martial Arts with Friends, I believe it is. So go check that out. I do have a couple videos on the maces and the kettlebells. But fantastic stuff. Swing, curls. You can sit down, your legs go out, kind of like if you're doing a Russian twist, but you can row with it. So many utility things that are just functional movement, right? So if it's winter time and you want to go canoeing in the summer, start doing that, because that'll get you those same muscles. Yeah. What else we got, guys? But fitness is huge. Add your strength training, because that's your recovery. That's your prehab. That's keeping your body safe to do jiu-jitsu. What I would say, weight to get in shape before you start jiu-jitsu? No, because nothing's going to get you in jiu-jitsu shape without doing jiu-jitsu. So just start, and then once you start getting the jiu-jitsu movements and everything down, then you start adding the weight training. I would focus mainly on like your warm-up things, right? So learn your hip escapes, your rolls, your technical get-ups, get all that down, and then start adding the weight to it. Because if your technique isn't right, it's not going to matter how strong or structured you are. So technique is always paramount. But there's a reason that like the Gordon Ryans and them are jacked, because it amplifies your technique. It doesn't replace your technique, but it amplifies your technique. Yeah, good questions. Thanks for being so active, James Maddox. So let's get more questions in here. I'm happy to help you guys. I'll be here for a little while longer. As long as you guys want to go, I'm here today. Again, my co-hosts are missing. They got sick, so you got me. Here we go. All right, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, life, anything that you want to bring up about this week's posts are also welcome. I didn't want to get too far into it, but we can bring it up. I made a post about, having hand-to-hand combat means you use less lethal force. Man, I don't like to get too political on like gun talk or left and right and all that stuff. But, the police have shown that if police have hand-to-hand combat experience and training, less likely to use lethal force. And the same thing goes through to civilians, right? If you have a gun, but you can't fight, you're going to go right to the biggest tool that you have, and that's going to be the gun. And police do the same thing, right? But if you feel confident in handling a situation without deadly force, oh man, you're set. And we were talking a little bit about it earlier with self-defense, right? What self-defense is to me is to be able to set a boundary and then back it up. So whether it be don't touch me, or severe cases with women, it can be no, don't do that. If I don't have the ability to back it up, the only thing that no works on is people who will respect no. And those aren't really the people that I need self-defense for. So having jiu-jitsu, MMA, kickboxing experience gives me that ability to put an exclamation on that self-defense or that no and be like, no, this isn't happening because I can't enforce this boundary. Without the ability to enforce a boundary, you have no boundary. So train. Everyone should train. I'm 135 pounds, guys. A lot of these videos that come out go, oh, I'm a small guy, and they're like 165 pounds. It's like, oh yeah, come on. Most women outweigh me, so it's one of those things that you have to train. It's an offset. And if you are that 260 pound, muscle guy, well, you don't want to get your butt kicked anyway, right? So you should train too, because that's embarrassing. Yeah. We got 4 of you guys in here. Let's see the chat. Let's see some comments. What do you guys got going on this week? Any new techniques that you've been playing with? Let's talk about it. Or I can just stare at the camera. That works too. Belt Off podcasts we're in California. Belt Off podcasts are every Friday at noon. I usually have a couple co-hosts. I usually have Michael Stratton Jr., who is a black belt under Megaton. He's got 2 stripes on his black belt. And we have a blue belt underneath me and Michael. Dylan Delgado, he brings the fitness and the weight loss side of things, but they are sick today. So it's me and you and the chat. So say something. Throw a like. Throw a happy face. Throw a question. Throw a crazy comment on there. Let's talk about something. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all the button stuff. Because today's actually been pretty good. We got more people coming in and out than normal. So this is fantastic. Am I just not seeing it, or are you guys being quiet? Are you guys shy out there? Let's see those comments. I can wave to you guys. What's the biggest difference, West Coast and East Coast jiu-jitsu. There we go. There's all kinds of things. Those are going to get reactions. So Frank Lewis says, what's the biggest difference in West Coast and East Coast BJJ? I'm not sure. I've never trained on the East Coast. I have had some people come in from the East Coast, and what their explanation was is West Coast is a little more flowy. It's a little more a little less smash and a little more technical is what I've heard. So I don't know if this is true or not because I haven't tested it. But I've always gotten compliments on how detailed the technique is and how much emphasis on the proper positioning is rather than just smashing and grinding. But there's definitely those smash and grind places out here. Yeah, Alvin, Rico, we've been trying to connect over the last couple weeks. He's looking to get his first class in. I think we've had some scheduling things come up. I know he works a lot, it looks like. But yeah, get in here. Let's get you training because that would be fantastic. More the merrier. More training partners, the better. But good question, Frank. I'd love to answer that with more detail, but I just don't know. Yeah. You can't deny that the East Coast Jiu-Jitsu is right because that's where, John Danaher and all of them were. You have Matt Serra, lots and lots of good New York gyms, New Jersey gyms, that side of things. All right. We can talk about the fights coming up, but the fights that passed. I mentioned Tony Ferguson signing a 8-fight contract with the UFC, and I really think he should retire. That seems kind of absurd to me that the UFC would even start something like that. He's just beyond his prime. Like, he's lost the last 8 fights. I don't see how he could come back and make a title run like he thinks he's going to. Welcome in, guys. We are up to 8. Make sure you hit those likes and follows and all the buttons. We are on a mission to 5,000 followers so that we can unlock all of Facebook's features. So we are getting very close. It looks like we're hitting a wall right about that 4,500 mark. So if you guys could share and go through everything, like it, that'd be awesome. I'd say with the internet, there's not a great difference internationally. You aren't limited to seminars, etc., to learn specific moves, details. Yeah, that's exactly right. So the internet has definitely been a big equalizer. You can learn a lot from different moves, and I'm posting technique videos. I have a bunch ready to go also. Once we hit that 5,000 mark, we've unlocked some extra features, so I'm holding on to some techniques and stuff. But yeah, across the board with everything, right? If you want to learn anything, you can just find the internet. When jiu-jitsu was first being spread, you might be able to find a blue belt in Europe. You might be able to find, a purple belt here or there. But now, there's so many high-level guys that the different sides of things are pretty even. Now, different areas definitely have different mindsets, right? So you might have a smash heavy side of things. You might have body sizes and shapes and everything change jiu-jitsu. So the way that you approach jiu-jitsu changes depending on, what you like to do and whether you have long limbs, short limbs, a stocky body, your jiu-jitsu is going to change. So I would say there's more of a difference with body type than body area. I'm from NZ, just spent 6 weeks traveling the U.S. and didn't notice much difference. Yeah, I don't think New Zealand, yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's so universal now. Jiu-jitsu's jiu-jitsu. You used to have and here's a hot button topic, right? So what's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu? What's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? What is American Jiu-Jitsu? Japanese Jiu-Jitsu? It's all the same stuff, guys. It's all grappling. And a lot of the different competitions now, like the ADCC, and a lot of these big, competitions, grappling industries, they're opening it up to the wrestlers and everyone. They use a jiu-jitsu scoring system in most of them, but like it's open, right? With grappling industry, I mean, the IBJJF is still pretty strict on their rule set and everything, but like grappling industries, you can do just about anything. You can reap, you can do all that at blue belt and up. No slams in grappling industry, but I mean ADCC, you can slam. All these fight to wins, you can slam. So we're really seeing it opening up, because it was very niche. It was like, oh, jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling wasn't really a thing, and it's still kind of small. Wrestling, you couldn't find a wrestling gym, right? But those are starting to pop up again. And we're seeing this mixture again of just grappling. And so I think a lot of people, we call it jiu-jitsu, we call it Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but it's so interwoven now. I posted a video earlier, and it was a guy that was a historian, and he was talking about how judo was used by like thugs and stuff in Japan, and then it got spread, they made it like more of a sport, and then it got spread everywhere. So Japan, it went down to Brazil, it came to America, and you had Japanese guys like Sakuraba learning catch wrestling, and you had the Gracies learning jiu-jitsu, and then changing it. But then even then, they were coming up to the United States to learn wrestling, and then they would bring it back to Brazil. And so this interweaving of all the grappling has been happening for a long period of time, and then the internet and the UFC just exploded everything together. It's kind of fun to watch, because you no longer have like, oh, this is Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, this is American Jiu-Jitsu. It's just Jiu-Jitsu, it's just grappling. And it's a cool thing to see. Marcus says, the biggest difference in some countries have wrestling in school and some countries don't. So some kids' development starts younger typically, and their bodies are move in line to perform grappling specifically. Yeah. No, I agree. Any country that has a system that encourages the youth to actually take on that style is fantastic, because those kids, one, are going to be happier and healthier in life, right? But also they're going to have a skill that they can bring forward, and some self-defense that is preset. But yeah, the 5-year-olds, the 6-year-olds that I get in here, man, they pick up moves, right? You teach them a sprawl. I posted a video of one of our kids sprawling, and it's like over dramatic. His chest is on, and he's basically like Supermaning on the person. His feet are in the air. It's not technical, right? We need to circle around to the back and everything. But he is like planking on this guy, legs up, but super good sprawl, right? Learn the fundamentals, learn the basics of what he needs to do to keep that person down. And kids pick up on this quick. And when you start at 5, 6, 7 years old, you have the lifetime to get good at it. So there's no rush, right? You start a little later on, and you want to like compete and make a run at it. You got to pick things up a little bit quicker. But kids, man, you can take that slow burn and just keep teaching them basics. Marcus says, now in BJJ we seem to get heaps of younger and younger kids, so it's definitely getting bigger. Some of my toughest matches, I'm 36, I hardly ever make it into the Masters division. They always bump me down into the adult. But yeah, some of those, the purples, browns that are 17, 18, 19 years old, man, those guys are like the toughest ones, because they've been training since they were 5 years old. They have 15 years of experience under them, and they're 20 years old. And it's like, man, these kids are beasts. I started when I was 26 years old. I would have loved to start early on. Marcus says his daughter started at 6 and is now 14, 8 years deep. Exactly. A monster, I'm sure. Because kids are learning their bodies, they're learning how to move, and you're teaching them how to move in a jiu-jitsu way from the start. And those are going to be ingrained movements in them for their entire life. Nobody's taking that from them. Of course, they need to brush up their skills if they ever stop. But man, yeah, your daughter's set. Your daughter is never going to have to worry about her no not being taken serious, right? She is going to be able to set that boundary and back that boundary up. And that is a magical thing to be and have. And I'm sure it gives you a lot of security being a father. And that's another thing, right? I got a couple kids. I have a 2-year-old and I have a 14-year-old. Man, jiu-jitsu, my eldest, my 14-year-old, doesn't really train anymore and stuff, but he trained for years and he's got enough that I'm like, all right, you can choose to train or you can choose not, but I know you have that self-defense mindset. I know you have the skills to actually back it up. So, all right, your choice whether you want to play volleyball and that sort of thing at this point. But every kid should know how to back it up. My 2-year-old is in here all the time. He's 2.5 and doing, I don't push him, but he follows along with the kids' class. He's doing the technical get-ups and the butt scoots and the front rolls and the back rolls and all. He goes to mount and is able to sprawl out. And so it's just introducing these little concepts and then just increasing them over time. Yeah, there's no rush for kids though. But yeah, 8 years in, at 14 years old, beast. Those kids are going to be hard to deal with. And if she wants to compete going forward, she's going to be tough to deal with. My daughter also has been training for 2 years. She's 13 now. God, she decided to train BJJ instead of soccer. So here's the thing with martial arts versus sport. I would say martial arts is required until you can defend yourself. Now, I still think you should continue after that. Soccer is not going to teach you to defend yourself. It gives you great cardio and great athleticism, but it doesn't have that same practicality when it comes to self-confidence or being able to back up your no. Which is super important, right? Sports are great. I recommend all kids do all the different sports, but I think martial arts is critical. Now, what I found is, especially for girls, that 13, 14-year mark is very difficult to keep them training, right? They have so many things that are drawing them away from it, whether it be socializing or different sports, or just like that ick factor of being so close to everyone as they're going through their stuff. But yeah, if you can keep her going through this time period, because this is the trickiest part. When they start popping out the other end of those teenage years, they usually, want to get back into it. But it's these transitioning years that are tough. Yeah, BJJ as a life skill is something you can do your whole life, yes. And it should be, right? So you should be able to, Helio Gracie was training, I think, 2 weeks prior to dying, and he was in his 90s, right? So picking your training partners, picking your jiu-jitsu place, and having people that you could roll and train with throughout those 70s, 80s, 90s is so important. I know we have Candia Tucker. I don't know if she's in here right now, but she is all over my Facebook page, and I love it. She's in her 60s and has just picked up jiu-jitsu. I think a couple years ago, there was another post that I saw. Somebody was 72 years old, just got their blue belt. Like, this stuff is doable in those later years, and fantastic, right? Keep it going. This should be acceptable and usable by everyone, not just those prime athletes. All right, what else we got, guys? Let's see some comments. Let's see some follows. Let's see some likes. But give me something to talk about. Let's talk. My co-hosts are, and we got a lot of people coming in and out, so I'm going to keep saying things, but co-hosts are sick today, so it is just me. You are stuck with this bald head. It is looking kind of shiny on camera, though, so that's nice. Got my training in this morning. Yeah. I'm going to stare at you till I get a comment. Here we go. Let's see. Oh. Do I do MMA? So I've only ever competed in jiu-jitsu, but I do love some MMA sparring. It is a lot of fun. I do kickboxing Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu, and it is very fun to open up all of it together. Did my hair tap out? It definitely did. It started thinning at about 26 years old, 25 years old, and then it's continually going. I'm not completely bald on top, but it is noticeable. I don't have like that complete baldness. It's just thin. So like when I shave the side and I toss it in the sink, it goes. When I do the top, it goes. So the hair is definitely thinning. But yes, my hair is definitely tapping out. But yeah, MMA is a lot of fun. And I have a wall grappling video I'm going to post very soon for takedowns and things. And it's a little it's frustrating watching some of the people in the UFC not capitalize on some of the things that they could. Yes, UFC is MMA, mixed martial arts, right? So the UFC is a brand, the UFC is a company, and then the MMA is a sport in which they do. Just like NFL is the brand and football is the sport. Same thing. UFC is the brand, MMA is the sport. There's so many things that you would expect a high-level fighter to go for, but they just don't. And you see them set up the grips, you see them do it, and they just don't pull the trigger. But yeah, but MMA is so fun to train because you get all the scramble positions that change when you're in somebody's guard and you can just posture up and punch them in the face, or you're going for an arm bar and there's hammer fists right there. It's pretty fun. Favorite BJJ rule set to watch? I like the EBI setup. I like the ADCC rules. I like openness, right? I like to see what's doable. So if we're talking about making it accessible for the general public to compete, things like the IBJJF are fantastic. There's no slams, there's no reaping, there's all these different things that kind of keep everyone a little bit safer, but it pushes the sport more and more into this safety zone. And I really don't think jiu-jitsu is a safety zone. We can train certain things like heel hooks and reaping and all these in a safe manner. Having a belt level where things open up kind of makes sense. If you get to a blue belt, purple belt, you should be pretty adept at learning where danger is, right? You might not be able to inflict the danger, you might not be able to heel hook, but if you're a blue belt, you should be able to recognize, oh, he's got me in a heel hook. This is bad. Do not rip out of this thing, right? And opening up the rule sets, Grappling Industries opens up all the reaping and everything, knee bars, everything but heel hooks, I believe, at blue belt. And I think that's a fantastic thing. I even teach the white belts in my classes what these different things are and how to enter them. And obviously, we don't finish them, and I don't encourage them to go for them. But they should be able to be like, oh, my heel is locked out, my leg is stuck. I'm not just gonna like force something or try to do something. They should understand that they're in danger. My favorite BJJ rules, yeah. Marcus says, in my opinion, mats are such an issue. We did an event in a cage, and it was much more interesting. Yeah, so we got the wall mats behind us. They're fun to grapple on. It's different. And yeah, if you're on a hard surface and not a mat, whew, things change drastically. Michael says, once you get good enough, you can pull guard in a fight. And basically, you pull guard to sweep up. And then you're able to capitalize on the top position there. Which, you saw Damian Maia and them pulling half guard. So it's even in MMA, things like that are doable, but you have to be good, right? If you're not good, you want to be on top. You want to get that takedown. You want to get on top. When a kid first comes into my classes and everything is focused on getting a takedown, get on top, hold top position. If you're on the bottom, get to a top position, right? These are self-defense principles. Now, just like everything else, though, whether it be boxing or anything, you're going to learn principles that, okay, you do not break these rules because you are within your first 2 years of training. Don't cross your feet. Don't do this. Keep your hands up. All right. Now you're moving on to like intermediate and advanced training. Now we can start breaking those rules. Now we can actually start doing the things that I was telling you don't do, because we know the consequences if we do them, and we can preset some of our defenses. So if I stick my hand in danger and I don't know it's going to be in danger, that's an issue. If I stick my hand in danger but I know I'm going to get a reaction, now we can start playing a game. So there's a line to that you got to balance carefully. I know you do jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. Do you do MMA training? Yeah, so the MMA training is more of like the open mat or after hours training. I teach kickboxing classes and I teach jiu-jitsu classes every now and then. It depends on what we're working on. There are definitely times where I'm teaching something that is, or like in the no-gi classes where that has direct self-defense applications, and I'll be like, yeah, let's put on the 4-ounce gloves and let's actually role play this and let's scenario drive this. But typically the jiu-jitsu classes are just jiu-jitsu. But there's going to be days where I'm like, all right, here we go, guys. All that stuff you've been learning, now look at this. This is going to be something you're going to have to be aware of if this happens in a fight. Yeah, no. So the MMA training, I definitely recommend people try it after classes, and I'm always here, right? So we have classes, adult classes, from 5:30 to 8 o'clock, and then every night 8 to 8:30 is just open training, open sparring, and I'm here to help, right? So you got a question, you got an MMA question, you got a wall grappling question, come on over to me, I'll help you out with it. And that's one of the things that I really pride myself on with this gym, is being able to be available to people for those certain things. Because, hey, coach, I got an issue. I'm not going to charge you for a private. Just call me over after class. We'll spend some time working on it. Because if you're struggling with it, somebody else probably is too. We'll get a little group together and troubleshoot that. Do you have people in your club competing in kickboxing, MMA too, or BJJ comps? So we mostly do jiu-jitsu competitions, but we do also do the IKFs. Point Muay Thai competitions, they're fun. They say that they're point Muay Thai, but all the ones that I've been at are, if there's a knockout, they call it a injury stoppage. So everyone that I've ever been at, I've seen people get knocked out. Even though they're point and there are no knockouts, people get knocked out. So those IKFs know that going into it, because the first one that I went to, I was like, oh, maybe we'll be able to get the kids involved in this and everything, and then they are just hammering on each other. I'm like, no, I'm not putting my kids in that. But yeah, we do the IKFs. We don't do any actual amateur or MMA fighting. We are not a fight gym, but we do train all the skills that would get you there. Do you have people in your? Yep. So mostly jiu-jitsu though. Mostly jiu-jitsu competitions. Some Muay Thai competitions, but we don't do MMA. Yeah, I wish we had a local organization that did something like a K1, no headshots for the kids, but yeah, same with MMA. And I know there are some like amateur ones that are like unique, but as far as like a grappling industries or like an IBJJF where I can bring the whole team and we can all compete and stuff, I don't see anything locally that's like that. Yeah, no ground and pound. Yeah, and when I said that we don't do MMA training, we don't really do MMA training with the adults other than like the after hours and stuff, but I do MMA training with the kids all the time. So Mondays and Fridays are no-gi, and yeah, end of class, we got 20 minutes left. All right, we're doing some super fights, guys. We put on the big gloves. They can do their kickboxing if it goes to the ground. Now we're doing jiu-jitsu with padding the body, patting the head, and I don't even mind the headshots as long as we're just tapping. And if I see like 3-4 headshots get, oh, boom, that's a tap. You're done. That's considered out. Oh, lights are going off. I'm here. See, I'm by myself today. Lights are going off. We're setting a mood. All right, let me get the auto lights back on. And the world is re-illuminated. MMA Youth World is also no headshots. Yeah, so my first impression when I saw kids MMA, my first one that I saw was full contact. It must have been out of Russia or something. It was crazy. They were just blasting each other. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. And then I saw some youth MMA ones that were semi-local. I think Dave Terrell had, at NorCal Fighting, had a couple kids that were competing. And it was like that. It was no headshots. It was MMA. And, man, those kids were good. It was like body shots. They get to a takedown, go for arm bars. The transitions were beautiful. And I was like, oh, they're doing art in this one. So, yeah, no problems with that. But I have seen some kids MMA competitions that are just brutal, and I've also seen some rule sets that are fantastic and are only going to make the kids better with no real damage to their bodies. Yeah. Amateur MMA is just no elbows, no knees to the head, and no heel hooks for adults. Yeah, so it's very similar. So amateur MMA is no elbows, no knees to the head, and no heel hooks. Yeah, amateur here is just open, right? Amateur here is basically a full-on professional fight. It's just minor leagues. You're not getting paid for it. They don't wear elbow pads, but all that is legal. Yeah. Heel hooks, man. I that might be a hot topic for you guys. I don't think the severity of a heel hook is catastrophic, but if you're training your guys what a heel hook looks like and how to apply any submission slowly and properly, like, I don't see an issue with like heel hooks for like blue belt up if they know like how to make things, controlled. It's all about control. Yeah, heel hooks. I think heel hooks should be legal, and fine, make it purple belt. But I don't think it should be black belt in the gi. I don't know. I don't think heel hooks are as bad as people say they are. You just need to tap. Like, if you get caught with a heel hook, tap. I don't see the big issue with it. I think there's so much of a stigma on it. Yeah. Exactly. Problem is sometimes amateur MMA have not enough BJJ experience to recognize it is really what it is. But that comes down to your coach, man. If you're taking amateur fights, I think you should be at a level where you understand what a heel hook is. As an older blue belt, I like not having heel hooks in comp. We have to work. I tap quick. No, you just said it, right? You tap quick to them, right? Make them legal. Tap. He caught you. Just like an armbar, just like a straight ankle lock, just like anything. Tap, right? Where the problem comes in is people who crank them. As long as we don't have to worry about people who are just cranking on them, we're good. We're good. Like, in competition, man, I can see both ways. I like open rule sets, though. I like making it as real as possible, because I look at your jiu-jitsu competition like a self-defense situation without strikes. I don't know. If you're competing, you're not a casual, or you shouldn't be a casual, right? You're actually trying to get something done. Yeah, and heel hooks are just another leg lock. D-bars, just another leg lock. Just another submission, just another joint lock, right? What's the difference between my wrist and my ankle? What's the difference between my arm and my knee? It's all the same stuff. We're doing the same applications to both of them. The issue is just when people don't tap or they try to defend improperly, and that's on the coach. That's on the people who you're working with. Don't let somebody into a knee bar, or don't put a knee bar on somebody that doesn't know it. And if you know they don't know it, bail on it. Don't even go for it. There's been times where I've set up a heel hook on somebody, and I look at them and they don't understand the position, and I just let go. Just let it go. And that's what it is, right? But if I look at them, I strap in that heel hook, they understand the situation and they're doing everything technically, I'm going to hold it and I'm going to slowly apply it until they tap to it. But everything comes down with that is position, right? So what you'll have is somebody who's losing an armbar or somebody who's losing the heel, and they're like, oh no, I need to get this now. Or they'll look at the clock and be like, oh no, there's 10 seconds left. And they'll start to crank it. All this is ego, right? This isn't a problem with jiu-jitsu. This is a problem with people. 10th Planet have all subs legal at all belts. If you look at it more like wrestling rather than limiting to a piece of cloth that isn't a universal standard, it's more open. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Make things open. Teach everybody, because being naive or not knowing what something is what's going to get you in trouble, not the actual technique itself. I like that. And like I was saying before, I like these open rule sets. I like the wrestling mindset to some of these things, and yeah, no, it makes sense. Oh, we got 10 of you guys in here. I love it. Ask some questions. Let's get some follows. Let's get some likes. If you're at a gym that doesn't even look at certain subs, you're going to be at a major disadvantage in your early comps at that belt. Yeah, exactly. If you wait until you're a brown belt to learn what a heel hook is, you're going to be in for a rough ride when you get to that brown belt or you get to black belt, because that's something that you should know exists. Now, I didn't play a whole lot of heel hooks or anything, but I understood what they were. I understood the basic escapes to it. Prior to that, footlocks, right? How often are we using our knees to try to like frame up, and our feet are just dangling in front of somebody's face, and there's a footlock right there. There's an ankle lock right there that we're just giving to the person because we've never worked footlocks. Footlocks are amazing, right? Grab that ankle, Kimura it, twist that ankle over a little bit, and get that sub. One of my professors as a blue belt did that to me all the time. Anytime I put my foot near his face, he grabbed it with a Kimura grip and he twisted my ankle. It's like, guess what I stopped doing? I stopped putting my foot in his face. And that's, he wasn't mean about it, but he was like, you're giving me this. This is a gift. Thank you. Stop doing that. I've been working the Aoki a lot in the past 2 months, and it's the same principle. Yeah. So I've been working a lot of like lasso Delahiva, spider, and yeah, that Aoki lock is right there. Me and Michael did a little bit of a breakdown on this after last Friday's one, and yeah, if you're playing shallow Delahiva or shallow lasso, you're almost giving it to him. You need to make sure that heel is tucked away and safe. The other one was, I was actually rolling with a guy this morning. He was going for straight ankle locks, and some of the escapes, that heel was coming out. And I was like, ooh, there's one right there too. Yeah, the Aoki lock is crazy, kind of crazy that Michael Musumeci was able to get him with his own technique. That was pretty awesome. That guy's on a different level. I love it. I can't wait to see him in MMA, because Mikey's training Muay Thai now, and I think he's got an MMA match coming up in 1FC. I'm not positive, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with his striking, because if he attacks striking like he attacked grappling, we're in for a treat. It's going to be awesome to see him throwing some knees and then diving in on legs. That'll be fun to watch. Right. I like how active you're being, Marcus. Thank you for all those questions and everything. Let's keep this going. Anthony Leon says he taps too quick to them. That's relative, right? If you tap too soon to something, you're just being cautious. So I got like a jacked up knee, and when somebody grabs my ankle on that side, I am tapping quick. So there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's allowing you to continue training. Now, there is a point in tapping too soon, right? So if somebody has your arm, but they're not even putting pressure on it, you're not going to tap to an arm bar. Same thing, if somebody is working a rear naked choke, but they're not actually choking you yet, don't tap yet. Because the other person's still working and learning how to get the arm under their chin and so on. So don't tap super early, but as soon as the pressure is being applied, tap away, right? There's no point in injuring yourself or developing something chronic because you are afraid to tap. I'd rather tap too soon than too late any day. Yeah. Let's keep it going, guys. We just hit an hour. Congratulations. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep going. Nick, what's your current highest percentage? Ooh. I like arm bars, triangles, cross collar chokes, and then you guys know I like my bicep slicers. Bicep slicers are such an amazing cheater tool. Wrist locks also. But I would say that I attack the arm bar the most. I'd say I attack arms, I attack the cross collar chokes, and then it usually leads into either a back attack or a back take, a cross collar choke, usually something simple. I really started getting back to the basics on things. Do you use canto paired with arm bars and triangles? Not sure what that is. We got time. Let's take a look. Canto. So one of the issues that I had with names on things is all the way up till purple belt, I was under a Brazilian guy who didn't speak English much, and so everything was just do this, points and things, and very, very broken English. So I didn't learn the names to a lot of jiu-jitsu positions, canto choke, until the last like 3 years of my training. So there's a lot of positions that I know, I just don't know what they're called. Canto choke, let's take a look. I was actually playing with a very similar variation today. Ooh, I like that one. I don't do a whole lot of that. So what I'm watching is from like a knee slide pass and he's stepping over. I like that. I typically don't go, if I'm working a knee slide pass, I'm usually trying to get in on like a darce or some sort of head control, preferably. If I can't get to that, I'm usually weaving the legs and trying to pass that way. Yeah, no, it looks super effective, right? If you can get that left leg around. Now, one of the things that I like that back take. One of the things that I was looking at today was, my mind just lost. Mikey Musumeci. When there was when the knee slide pass is happening, reaching over and actually grabbing that far leg and pulling it over. When he was going against Aoki, he actually went into a 50-50 position. But I actually got a heel hook on that today. He dropped to his butt as the foot was coming over, and it gave me that heel hook on the inside. That was pretty cool. That was one that I practiced just today. I've never attacked that far side. I always went for the underhooks and tried to get that left leg lassoed back over the top, start working back into a guard. So that one was cool. But no, that one definitely looks cool. I haven't played with a whole lot of that. Guard, open guard, I like a lot. I don't do a whole lot of top position. If I do get to a top position, I I like to control. I like to work knee on belly. Again, I'm super light, right? I'm 135 pounds, 140 pounds. So I like positions where I can disconnect and re-engage a lot, because what I've found is if I something like the skydiver gives me good control and I'm able to hold a good base and everything, but if I start latching too much, I get rolled. Or if I'm just playing like a regular mount game with my arms out, I get launched like 2-3 mats over, and that's no good. So I'd like to play a lot of knee on belly where I can disconnect, re-engage, and I'm in the dark again. Hold on one second, guys. Yeah, I like to be mobile when I'm on top rather than locked into a position, because guys just fling me across the room. It was kind of funny. I was rolling with a guy that was a little lighter than me, right around my size, and I was passing like a knee on belly, past the knee slide. I got to like a knee on belly, and I had the collar pant. And normally when I pop up like a deadlift from like the knee on belly, I get a little rotate. It flipped them all the way over. I was like, holy shit. But this is what guys do to me also. Bit lighter, I mainly use Ezekiel's arm triangles and mount. Yeah, I love a good arm triangle. Those are fantastic. Ezekiel's are like white belt gold, right? Or kryptonite, however you want to look at it. I see so many Ezekiel chokes in white belt competitions, and almost always what happens is when one white belt is trying to Ezekiel the other white belt, the person on bottom tries to block the arm and go for a traditional trap and sweep or trap and roll, and they end up in guard getting choked by the Ezekiel. It happens so often. No-gi Ezekiel's only, though. I like a good no-gi Ezekiel. Also, big guys, it's a little tougher. There's so much distance between the shoulder and all the way across if they got those wide shoulders. But yeah, no-gi Ezekiel's. I just posted a video on the no-gi ninja choke. I really like that one. But that one's usually like wall grappling. It's tough to get in regular sparring unless you're in a scramble, or if you have like a front headlock position. That one's also really good. Yeah, arm triangle's fantastic. I posted that bicep slicer from like side control or half guard where you get in and then you're working on that far side and you squeeze. I love that one. Another issue that I had a lot in side control was that crossface, that frame coming up and pushing me backwards, and with that hand that goes to the bicep and able to drop that down. Favorite guillotine, I like a high elbow guillotine. The finger ones are good. I like where you can get in or start cranking up, but I really like the high elbow guillotine, getting the elbow all the way across. And I do it the way the Silver Fox, I don't know if you know who that guy is, he's pretty awesome. The Silver Fox doesn't pull to guard, and he doesn't pull to like a half guard with the knee in. He kicks both legs out the opposite side. And then the leg that's closest to the body comes all the way up. So the person only has an option to go away from the leg to make it tighter, or they have to go all the way invert to get over that leg, and then you just follow them if they are able to kick up that high. How often do I work wrist locks, any specific positions? Yeah, so big guys, if I have them in guard, I don't like them touching me. And so every time they touch me, I'm going to try to wrist lock them. The other position that I like wrist locks from are omoplatas. You get that omoplata sweep, you can't get the hips flat on the ground, or if that arm starts popping out from the pocket, you can also throw in a good wrist lock there. Those ones are fun. But typically from full close guard are going to be the wrist locks, but really any position. It's funny, I was rolling with my coach Michael, who's usually on the podcast, and he pops up. I jump on his back, and he was kind of playing with me, but I jump on his back, and he starts attacking like straight arms and stuff as we're standing, right? I'm on his back, and he starts attacking that arm. So I'm swiveling around his body, kind of like that challenge where you go around the person, and hit my hands out, and it's like bang, wrist lock. So you can find wrist locks in a lot of places. Triangle is great for wrist locks, too. So wrist locks get a bad name, but I would say how you apply it is everything. Don't rip a wrist lock. If you're doing jiu-jitsu and you're controlling the body, wrist locks are amazing, right? If you are able to isolate that arm and slowly apply a wrist lock, fantastic. What I don't like about wrist locks is like dropping a hip on one or that sort of thing. But wrist locks, if you're in a controlled position and you're just folding that wrist over, that is super technical. That is super legit. Go for it. How often do you work positions? Have you seen Ben Eddy's hook grip for guillotines? It's a game changer, especially for high elbows. Hook grip. Is he going here? Or I typically go here. Grab underneath and go here. You can start coming back across if you get it high enough. Or are you talking about this one where you go over the back? It's probably the one where you go over the back that you're talking about. Triangles are great for wrist locks too. Damn right. Slow and steady, safe, but they are everywhere. Yeah. Same thing with those ankle locks or the wrist or the ankle locks, the foot locks, right? So you Kimura, you grab the pinky toe and you fold it over. You'll find those everywhere also. He makes a circle with his thumb and index finger. Interesting. Off the chin strap. Oh yeah, chin straps, great. But that's more. He'd be in there. Oh, maybe. I'll have to look it up later. Interesting. Yeah. One of the ones, man, I was rolling with a super high level guy, and I was in on a single leg, and it was like, if I go one way, there's triangle. If I go the other way, he's gonna mount. So it was like a no good situation, and he gets this like grip, and it's just like pushing the bottom of my tongue like into my throat. And if you haven't experienced that yet, right, just take a finger like this and just push up. Instead of pushing into your throat, push your tongue up into the roof of your mouth from the bottom of your neck. It is not fun, and it is super legit. Try. It's not great. Yeah, hard to explain times. No big deal. I'll check it out later. And what do you guys think about smothering techniques? You can use the gi. Anything above white belt, I believe it's legal to smother with one hand. Yeah, Dylan, you left me stranded. It's just me here talking for an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, whatever it's been. Michael's sick too. So Dylan Degato is in the chat. Light him up, give him a like, give him a heart, whatever. Hope he feels better. He's dealing with family things and all that. Smother and arm triangles are a great combo. Yeah, I like it from mount. It's to me, it's just funny. I only do it on specific people in the gym that I know we're just gonna have a laugh about it. But yeah, I've seen videos of people with missing meat out of their hand from doing it in a competition, and the other guy didn't know it was legal and just bit him. Oh, it's brutal. Smother and arm triangles are a great combo. Yes, they are. Mother's milk is used heaps in our club. Man, you must be rolling with some big guys. I'm 135 pounds. I don't have much to like smother them into. But yeah, I have definitely been on the receiving end of some mother's milks, and it is not pleasant, especially when you're in the later rounds and everyone's soaked and dripping sweat, and then you either got that sweaty gi or like you're getting waterboarded with the rash guard. Oh man, that is, if you want to make somebody run away from jiu-jitsu, that is one way to do it. I recommend doing some of those things on like your good friends that aren't going to hold it against you. It is definitely waterboarding, all right? And he's got sweat dripping off, and it's like here, and it's going into your eyes and your mouth, and then you get the hair in the back of your throat, and you can't get it out because your arms are tight. Yeah. We've all been there. It's not very fun. Oh, man. The fun parts of jiu-jitsu, right? We're like an hour and a half in. All the casuals are gone. They don't need to see this part of jiu-jitsu. This is the stuff they don't need to see for 6 months. What else we got? We got Dylan in here now. Throw me a question, Dylan. Throw me something since you missed the last 2 podcasts. Some training, right? Throw me a question, throw a statement out there. How's your weight loss going? So Dylan's on this journey down to a ridiculous body fat. I think he's trying to get to like 5% body fat. He started at 240 pounds. He's usually my co-host. 240 pounds, down to under 130 now, trying to see what he can do as he launches his weight loss instructionals and help. Yeah, so let's see what else we guys got. And I'm good hanging out here, guys. Let's run it. Let's get to. Oh, we lost a few. They didn't like the waterboarding, hair in the back of the mouth talk, I guess. Favorite submission. We've talked about this a couple times. I like a good armbar. Armbars are very satisfying to me. They're usually what I go to the most. Or just like a basic cross collar choke. Triangles if I can catch them. Yeah, those are my most satisfying. Favorite kids comps to compete at. I like how Naga, you can ignore belts, pick your division personally. I didn't know about that, Naga. We pretty much exclusively do the grappling industries, and I like the grappling industries round robin because if you show up to one of these elimination competitions, they get one match and boom, they're out. Maybe their nerves was firing, maybe it was something. With kids, man, just getting that experience, just getting those reps in. And the more times they can step onto that mat, the better. Especially if it's your first competition, right? Go get 4 losses in a row, step on the mat. It's going to suck, but at least you get that mat time. Yeah, double elimination, I think, is how Naga does it. I think it's how IBJJF does it. With grappling industries, they do round robin. So if there's 4 people in the bracket, everyone faces everyone. If there's a tie, they'll have matches to break it. If there's 8 people, they'll do 2 round robins, so 4 people, and then it'll be like NFC, AFC, where they compete against each other for the first. I really like that format because they get 4, 5, 6 different matches in a day. We are in Rohnert Park, California, northern, so we're about an hour north of San Francisco, that hellhole. Yeah, having a girl is hard, not as many competitors. I'm in the same boat with how light I am. Not a whole lot of people are in my bracket. I know, and then when you start getting into like masters and stuff, there's even less. But yeah, I think you said your daughter was 13, coming. So she probably just started going into the girls-only divisions. I believe 13 and under is co-ed, where the boys and girls, 14. I think 14 is the first age where they actually separate girls and boys, where 13 and below, I believe, is all co-ed, which makes sense up until that point. But yeah, there's, not a whole lot, she does K1 and MMA too, yeah. Like I was saying, there's not a whole lot of girls that are in that 14, 15, 16, 17 age range that are actually into jiu-jitsu. it's the early classes are like split, and then you start getting towards those teenage years, and only the diehard ones really stick to that. But that's another thing, right? We need to get to a point where, and I have seen it change a little bit. There's definitely more women training jiu-jitsu now than when I first started, and we need to continue that because, that's what they always say, right? Jiu-jitsu is for the smaller, weaker person if everything else is even. So we definitely need more women training, and we need less douchebag dudes. She had to fight adults a few times. She had a great attitude, though, and they never put her with the white belts. Yeah, take whatever match you can get, right? If you get in danger, tap. But compete against... Nobody's scouting you at local competitions, guys. So you're not going to find that giant advertiser. You're not going to find any life-changing money or anything. So just go compete. Go have fun with it. Tap when you need to tap. It doesn't really matter about your level or anything, right? So, and fade to black. Here we are. We'll just leave it this way. I'll sit in the dark. I'm with you guys. Here we are. Two of you guys in here. Marcus, you are a fucking stud with all these questions and everything. Gosh, I appreciate you hopping in there. And if they're like mean little wrestlers. Yeah, so wrestling has a mindset, right? Wrestling isn't just a sport. Wrestling is a thought process. Wrestling, man, I have conflicting thoughts with wrestlers because wrestling is so good for competition because it teaches you to like go get everything, right? Nothing's going to be handed to you. You need to go get it. But the problem with that is like, say you're 40 years old, 45 years old, and you want to get back to it. You were a high school wrestler. You're like, oh, I'm going to go check out this jiu-jitsu gym. I'm going to get right back to where I was. They come in. I tell them, slow down. You're not going to be a world champion on your first day, blah, blah, blah. And wrestlers, people who come in later in life that wrestled in their teenage years, man, they just blow themselves out because they're trying to do what they did as a teenager and they can't anymore, and it's super frustrating because I know if they just slowed down and played the slower jiu-jitsu game, they would be able to do this for the rest of their life, but they can't get in their head to just relax. On the flip side, jiu-jitsu guys can get lazy and just sit there. So there's like this conflicting argument of like, should wrestlers slow down and should jiu-jitsu guys be a little more aggressive? And finding that happy medium for both. She had to fight adults a few times and had a good attitude. Yeah, address that one. So I wish I could give some jiu-jitsu people a little more of a wrestling spirit, and I wish I could give wrestlers a little more of a jiu-jitsu spirit for longevity. Because they're good. They just, their body can't handle what they did when they were teens, when you're 45, especially if you haven't been active for the last 30 years. Longevity, guys, longevity. New breed tournaments. I haven't heard about those. Let me know what those are. Maybe I can find it. New breed tournament. New Breed Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Fully committed to enhance the sport of competitive jiu-jitsu, our team of professionals are dedicated to the rules. Let's see the rules. All rules are designed with the health and safety of competitors. Divisions without submissions are available for youth competitors. Divisions without submissions are available for youth competitors age 11 and under. That is interesting. Click on the button. Points and scoring. Let's take a look. 4 points. Okay, so same. Passing the guards, 3 points. Passing the half guard, 3 points. Takedowns, guard sweeps, half guard sweep, knee on belly, all 2 points. Advantages only count if the match ends in a tie. I like all that.
gi, no gi, all same stuff. Divisions. Sometimes with these off ones, you'll get divisions that are like 20-pound differences. So they got a wider age limit, so it's 18 to 39 instead of 18 to 29 for their adult division, 40s and up bracket. So they only have one masters. Okay, so 2 competitor brackets is best to 3 competitor brackets is round robin, same as Grappling Industries. 6 competitors is double elimination, yep, same as Grappling Industries as far as the tiebreakers go and the bigger brackets. Division match times, youth is 2 minutes. That's a little early for white and gray-white. 2 minutes is not a whole lot of time to work. I'd like to see that be 3 minutes. Man, that's all the way up to 11-year-olds is only 2 minutes. I don't like that. Yeah, that's not enough time to work. That's not enough time to get anything done, especially if it's competitive. Youth group 1 to 2, 4 minutes, 3 minutes if you're 17, ages 17 and under. For white, gray, and yellow, man, 3 minutes. I mean, that's what most kids' brackets are, but and then 4 minutes for orange, green, blue, and purple. I'd actually rather see them do 5 minutes, really. 5 minutes for a kid really isn't all that hard. You could make the adults divisions less time. Adult men and women, 18 to 29, beginners 4 minutes. I don't know about these shorter matches. I've always ran out of time before I really got firing. Executive men, 30. Yeah, less times. This seems like a little bit more of a casual experience, a little more friendly to your... thoughts on... Yeah, it seems a little more friendly to your casual people, a little more friendly to your first-time competitors, but not really for the people who are trying to get things done. 2 minutes for a kid, 3 minutes for a kid, 4 minutes for an older, higher-level kid. It will be my first tournament. Yeah, no, go try it. Right. Your first three tournaments are gonna suck anyway, no matter what you do. Okay, so go have fun. Even if you win it, even if you win gold, your first 3 tournaments are gonna kind of suck, right? You're not gonna know what you're doing. You're not gonna know where to go or how to feel or anything, right? So the more exposure you can get to competing, the better you're going to get at it. Just like anything, right? You go anywhere for your first day, what are you doing? You're looking at the atmosphere, you're looking at all the people, you're not focused on learning anything. Imagine if you had a test on your first day of school after like summer break. You'd be like, I don't know. But after being in school for a couple months, you're like, no big deal. Take the test. So it's kind of like that, just immersion, just get as much experience as you possibly can. You're young, you got all the time in the world to get good. You just need a good tournament for your first time. You just need any tournament for your first time. Just go have fun, go play. Go play in your tournament. Again, there's nobody that's going to be scouting you. Nobody cares whether you win or lose except for you and maybe your parents, right? So just go have fun. Just go have fun, really. These aren't like professional records where it sticks with you forever. You're going to know. But it really doesn't matter that much. Just go try your best, have fun, win or lose. It's definitely a great experience. Yeah, we got 8 of you guys in here. All right. Again, co-hosts are gone today. They got sick, so I am here solo. Let me see your comments. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit follow. We are on a mission to hit 5,000 followers. And I'm bringing you an extra live one today. We are going on like an hour and 40 minutes now talking to you guys. This is fantastic. I love it. We were on YouTube forever, and
The problem with YouTube is I don't get these interactions with you guys. You don't get any comments. You don't get anything to go back and forth on. So I'm loving the Facebook. And we have grown quickly. It took 2.5 years to get almost 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've blown up to almost 5,000, which is our goal, in the last like 3 months on Facebook. All because of you guys. I am loving it and appreciative. So make sure you guys like some of the stuff. Leave comments. Follow along. Follow the memes. Some of them are bad. Some of them are good. But hey, we're in this together. Yes. Give me some comments, guys. Give me some questions. It can be jiu-jitsu, MMA, life, anything. What's your favorite color? I don't care. We can talk about something. My coffee's getting cold, but we're all good. Again, or I can stare at you. Here we go. I don't feel that tourneys are that important for adults unless you have time and ambition to pursue something in the pro world of combat sports. I personally feel that tourneys are really mainly for kids. What are your thoughts on that? Yes and no. I think everyone should do one. Especially if you have a self-defense mindset. The reason that I do tournaments is because I hate tournaments. That's my reason. Just like on here, I'm kind of introverted, so I don't like to talk. I don't like to do certain things. Now when I'm teaching, I flip a switch, I turn it on. When I'm doing this, I flip a switch, I turn it on. My first video that I ever did was like a 2-minute video. I took 100 takes. I deleted them over and over and over, and now look at me. I'm talking to you live and staring at you, right? So I look at tournaments in the same way, right? So if there's something that gets my nerves that much and I feel like I can't do it very well, I like to dive into it, and I feel the same way about tournaments. I want to get to the point where those nerves don't bug me anymore. I want to be able to get to a point where the nerves are like beneficial. That adrenaline spike is minimal, but there so that I can turn it on. And there's very few things that we can do in this civilized society that actually brings us to a point where we can turn it on against another human in a legal and ethical way. Sparring's great, but it does not have the same intensity. People move at like 3 times the speed than they do in regular sparring. The nerves, the adrenaline dump, you can only simulate that in a competition format. So if you have self-defense on your mind, it's going to prepare you for all of those things way better. I see your point in that, but I don't share that point of view. Most tourney roles are going to be less competitive than roles in your gym until you get to an elite level. I do way better in the gym than I do in competition. My first competition, man, I was shaking. I was over there like, I hope this person doesn't see how nervous I actually am, because I have left my body. My body is like in a state of a weird sensation, like my muscles, kind of like when you're dreaming and you can't punch. That's how I was feeling, and I've slowly gotten over that. But so with that, only about 5%, 5 to 10%, depending on the study that you look at, of people who practice jiu-jitsu do jiu-jitsu competitions. And so you're going to get the people who are looking to test themselves, or you're going to get the people who are really good at jiu-jitsu. Now, I would wonder what people were in your bracket, or what organization that you trained or you competed for, if you're not getting high-level people, because I have always had people in my bracket that I thought that they were above the skill level, that their belt said. I've always felt like I was competing up when it came to skill level when I was competing. I never felt like, oh, I'm competing at, purple belt, and this guy feels like a blue belt. I've never once had that. I've always been like, I'm competing at blue belt, this dude feels like a purple belt. Could just be me, but that's how I've always felt. And it might just be because I'm underperforming, or they're overperforming in that scenario. But yeah, I've always felt like I was, stepping up a level when I did the competitions, and things just move so much faster. The grip strength, everything that people bring into it is just night and day for me. It's like when somebody grabs you and squeezes you in a competition, it feels like they're on steroids. And this gets thrown out a lot because there are a lot of people on steroids and stuff. But man, adrenaline is real. Look at these junkies out there that are, doing crazy things. They'll like break their arm trying to lift a car, or they'll do, because they're on drugs. But man, adrenaline will give you a very similar mindset or a very similar state for a small duration of time. And then I have also felt people who just gas, and it's like, oh, it's game on now, and you can turn that level. But no, I do think that everyone should compete at least once, just to see what it's like and to challenge themselves. And if it's not for you, you don't have to do it. You can still train jiu-jitsu. You can still become a beast at jiu-jitsu. But it challenges my brain more than it challenges my jiu-jitsu, I would say, and that's why I do it. Yeah. Good questions, though. Thanks for the input. Let's get a couple more before we head out of here. It's 1 o'clock now here in California, and my lights are going dim one more time. So I'll stay on here until the next light dimming. It's probably 5 minutes or something. So let me see some questions. Let's wrap this up on an awesome note. Let's see it. Let's hear it. What do you guys got today on this Friday? We got New Year's coming. Any New Year's resolutions that you guys got? I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, but hey, if it gets you motivated to start something or try something, fantastic. But I do feel like if you're waiting until New Year's to start something, you're probably not going to continue with it. If you want to do something, do it now. There's no point in waiting, right? If you were going, oh, I'm going to start my diet on the 1st, that diet's not going to succeed. Start your diet right now, right? It's 2 days short, 3 days short, whatever it is. Just start it now. Stop making excuses. You're not going to be more prepared in 3 days than you are now. And you're never going to be fully prepared for anything. You're never going to be fully prepared for your first tournament. You're never going to be fully prepared for anything until you do it. You're never going to be fully prepared for teaching or trying. You're never going to be fully prepared for your first day of jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Take that leap. Hop out. Do something uncomfortable. Expand your boundaries. So if you are thinking about a New Year's resolution, just do it now. Just start it today. Hopefully that motivates you guys. But yeah, I don't mind seeing your New Year's resolutions. Throw them up there, right? Give me some comments. But start them today. Don't wait until New Year's. New Year's is an excuse, and you're starting yourself off with an excuse. Alright, you guys got until these lights go dim one more time. Let's see some comments. What do you think about Dana White's, 86-hour fasting? First 3 days are just water. Next 3 days are just chicken broth or bone broth. Bone broth. Kind of interesting. Alright. Where we at, guys? We got 5 in here. Let me see a comment. Throw a like, throw a love, throw a comment, ask a question. We've got 3 minutes. We'll give you guys 3 more minutes. And my lovely wife is in the building. Right. Once again, rolling solo today. Everyone else is sick. I'm here feeling healthy, strong. Bald head is gleaming. And once again, or I can stare at you. Well, fine. I'm gonna plug. So, lots of good videos are coming. Lots of good videos have been posted. Some technique videos. We do those with Michael typically on Fridays. I have one in the backlog that I'll post after this. Normally, we film every Friday. A good technique series for you guys. So go check those out. Interact with the memes. Interact with the content. I love you guys. Follow, like, share, subscribe. Hit all the buttons that Facebook and YouTube and all of them ask you to do. Let's keep growing our community. Again, our goal is 5,000 followers. Because at that point, we unlock all of YouTube or Facebook's features. We are stalling out just slightly at 4,500, so we are extremely close because we've been gaining about 1,100 per month the last couple months. So make sure that you guys are following. Liking content is great. Commenting on content is also fantastic, but sharing the content is the best. The shares go so much further. Alright guys, with that guys, we are ending the live. Thanks for being with me.